Today on What It's Like 1960 Dodge Dart Phoenix. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that puts the spotlight on the lost and forgotten cars. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics, lots of orphan cars, and cars that are frankly being forgotten. We dive in deep with specs. We talk about the design of these rolling works of art. If you're new to the channel, this channel will take you back. They will bring back lost memories, much like a Beach Boys song can take you to the beach with summer vibes. And if a memory comes back, be sure to share it in the comments section. I love reading all the memories, but most importantly, we show what these cars are like. If that sounds like a channel that you would totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Real quick, before we get to the meat and potatoes, if you leave a comment, just know I don't delete any comments posted. In fact, I leave up all the ones, even the ones that people say, Jay doesn't know jack shit about cars. I leave them all up there. YouTube has some sort of manager. It goes into a different filter. I have a friend that wanted to post a comment on here and YouTube deleted it. Just know I don't do that. That's YouTube. Everybody gets a free voice on this channel. Anyway, 1960 Dodge lineup. But before getting into all that, let's go back to 1955 for an analogy. What's the significance of 1955, you might be wondering? And we're not Back to the Future referencing or anything like that. In 1955, Virgil Exner stepped in as chief designer at Chrysler. Harley Earl might have been the first one to put fins on a car, 1949 Cadillac. Interesting thing though, both drew inspiration from the same thing. Both Harley Earl and Virgil Exner drew inspiration from the Lockheed P-38 Lightning. So in 1955, it's like you're getting ready to go to the party. 1956, you get in your car and you head to the shindig. 57, you arrive at the shindig. Hey, how you doing? 1958, drinks flow. People forget. 1958 through 60, the most intense party you've ever been to. It's so epic and you're having a blast. By 1961 and 62, it is the worst hangover you've ever experienced ever. I had to set the stage for 1960. 1960 Dodge model lineup. Dodge offered all new cars for 1960. Aside from the truck line, you had the Dodge Dart in the basement, followed by Matador and Polara at the top. It's interesting to point out that Dart was broken down into 3 trim levels. Dart was also their junior series car, which rode a 118-inch wheelbase. The Matador was a one-year only, one-hit wonder year. 1960 was the only year that was offered. And the Polara rode a longer 122-inch wheelbase. But not just that, the fins in the back are bigger. Dodge Dart was broken down into 3 trim levels. Phoenix was at the top, Pioneer in the center, Seneca was in the basement. Dodge would offer the Dart from 1959 to 1976 in North America, making its debut in 1959 for the 1960 model year. As a full-size car, Dodge played all the field positions. In 1960 to 61, it was a full-size car. 62, it was a mid-size car. And then from 63 to 76, compact car. In 4 generations. We're not including the new Dodge Dart in this generation sequence. Otherwise, I guess there'd be 5 generations. 1960 falls in the first generation, which had a production run from 1960 to 1961, designed by Virgil Exner. 1960 Dart Phoenix could be had as a 4-door sedan, 4-door hardtop, 2-door hardtop, and 2-door convertible. Dodge would offer the Phoenix, Pioneer, and Seneca up until 1962 when they were dropped and the levels became Dart, Dart 330, and Dart 440. So a bit different today. We generally compare what came first, but this is Genesis. So 60 on top, 61 on the bottom. These are also the only 2 years that the Dart was a full-size car. And these 2 cars can't really be any different. Starting in the front, bumpers, front fascia, all of it is completely different. The windshield looks like it's the only thing that is the same besides make, model, and the quad headlights. Moving to the side profile, just take a minute to take it all in. The 61 design is a cleaner design. The 60 has a lot of textures, a lot of layers going on, which isn't a bad thing. Also, look at the different fin designs. Looking at the rear, completely different. Look at how petite the taillights are. Backup lights relocated on the 61, which are flanking the rear license plate. Moving to the dash. Interestingly, the speedometer looks the same, but the buttons, the steering wheel, everything else is completely different. Which design do you like better in the comment section below? Let's talk specs. 210.5 inches long, 78 inches wide. It rides a wheelbase of 118 inches. It weighs 3,420 pounds. Price, $2,878, which is equivalent to you spending $29,495.90 in the year 2023. Total 1960 Dodge production was 367,804 units, of which total Phoenix 70,700. Moving on to engines, which there was a bunch of different engines to choose from. Starting in the basement with the Slant 6, 225 cubic inch displacement, inline Slant 6, 3.7 liters. It's good for 145 brake horsepower at 4,000 RPM, 215 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. Compression, 8.5 to 1, features 4 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had 14.7 seconds. Theoretical top speed, 96 miles per hour. Average fuel consumption, 15.2 miles to the gallon. Stepping up to the first V8 offering, 318 cubic inch displacement, Red Ram. V8. 5.2 liters. It's good for 230 horsepower, 4,400 RPM, 345 pound-feet of torque at 2,200 RPM, with a compression rating of 9 to 1. Features 5 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 9 seconds. Theoretical top speed, 111 miles per hour. Average fuel consumption, 12.3 miles to the gallon. And these are all baseline numbers. If you get a car and it's not performing anywhere near these numbers, then you know you have a problem. Like I said, all baseline numbers. Moving to the next V8 on offer. 361 cubic inch displacement, D500 Ram V8, 5.9 liters. It's good for 310 horsepower at 4,600 RPM, 435 pound-feet of torque at 2,300 RPM, with a compression rating of 10 to 1. Features 5 main bearings. It's backed with a 3-speed automatic torque flight. 0 to 60 could be had 7.2 seconds. Theoretical top speed, 125 miles per hour. Average fuel consumption, 8.8 miles to the gallon. Moving to the biggest and baddest engine on offer. A bit of conflicting information with this one. Some sources said that this did come in the Phoenix. Other sources said that it only came in the Matador in the Polara. I went back to the Monday night car show tonight and I ran into the gentleman that owns this car. And he said that this engine is the engine that he has in his car. So 383 cubic inch displacement, Ram Fire V8, 6.3 liters. It's good for 325 horsepower, 4,800 RPM, 420 pound-feet of torque at 2,400 RPM. Compression 10 to 1, features 5 main bearings. With the 3-speed automatic torque flight, 0 to 60, 7.1 seconds. Theoretical top speed, 127 miles per hour. And interestingly enough, this gets better gas mileage at 10.4 miles to the gallon. Moving on to transmissions. 3 transmissions on offer. You had the 2-speed automatic power flight, 3-speed automatic torque flight, and a 3-speed manual. Let's talk styling. There is a lot going on with this design. Look at the grille. It isn't straight. It's angled upwards. Quad headlights, bumpers, turn signals located in between the bumpers and the grille section. Look at all of the different layers. Fender markers on top of the fenders. Very clean / smooth. hood design, as well as fenders with an ever so slight center line in the hood towards the nose of the car. Beveled at the front fenders flare, and the line continues to run the rocker panel. It also take a gander at the beltline molding. Look at how it's textured. Just look at all of the different lines and layers going on with the rear end design. Dual antennas. The fins are very petite on this car. Also has a center line on the trunk. Bezels on the taillights are huge, and they look like they could go for the front. Reflectors just above that. Did anybody else catch the nuclear symbol inside these tiny reflectors? Getting inside, look at all of the bright work at the top of the door. The owner told me that he added some bright bars to separate the color schemes. 2 bars in the center that shouldn't be there. And I totally dig it because it definitely separates the color. It makes it. Armrest as well as door handle to pull the door shut. This is the door handle to get out. Window crank for the big window. Coming down inside the pedal box. Parking brake release. High beam dimmer switch. Brake pedal, gas pedal. Just take a look at this interior. That's so cool. So it's activated by this switch here?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that? Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood looks like. Up above, there are sun visors, which are really nice sized. Rear view mirror, which is mounted to the dashboard. It also looks to be power operated. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the bottom left and moving towards the top. Toggle switch for the mirror. Clock to set the time. Headlights, wiper, brake light, warning light. Power top. Right side of the steering wheel, ignition, interior lights, lighter. Drive modes, which are push buttons, read, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. Turn signal indicators, heat and ventilation controls, off, low fan, high fan, defrost, air. The slider makes it warmer. Gasoline gauge, oil pressure, which is in the form of an idiot light. Check out the clock. It rotates much like an Edsel speedometer. Amp meter, which is also an idiot light. Coolant temperature, speedometer with odometer inside of it at the top. Getting under the hood, notice there are dual horns. Chrysler had all kinds of trick things going on in the late 50s. Long tube intake with dual quads. This setup is called long tube cross ram. Coil location is mounted on the long tube intake. Generator, power brakes, power steering. On the positive side, when was the last time you saw one of these in the wild? They seem really rare, which is crazy because the ads claimed virtually rust-proof with all of the rust coating they claimed in the ads. Really cool dashboard and steering wheel combo. Really cool overlooked car. Against it, not sure how hard it would be to find parts for this car, like body and trim parts. Unit body constructed, so look over very, very carefully if you're thinking about buying one of these. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, 1960 Ford Galaxy or 1960 Dodge Dart Phoenix or 1960 Chevy Impala. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Moving to the second scenario. In your Would You Rather car, what is on the radio? Buddy Holly or The Foundations or Elvis? Going to leave this here again. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and song title. First person to do both correctly will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. If you don't have Facebook and would like to reach me, send me an email. All of that will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate all the support, and until next time, toodaloo! B-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run. B-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run.